The first example I'm going to give is actually a fairly standard one, except for one move. This is a rapid game that I played as black against Topalov in Paris in 2016. So all pretty heavy D3 Spanish theory here. Not going to go through the details. But yeah, in general, white is a little bit better, but it's not that big a deal. Knight h4, I think was a fairly interesting plan. Sort of forcing g6, getting the knight to f5. Otherwise, I'm probably intending to play c6 pretty soon while his rook is on a2, and then I should be fine. And after g3, the knight is coming to g2, e3 in case c6 comes. So I decided to change track a bit. And knight e8, knight g2, knight g7, starting to hint at f5, typical King's Indian, Old Indian, Czech Benoni, whatever you may call it, counterplay. I would say that I would love to have my pawn on b7 in these situations. b5 is a bit of a weakness that white can maybe exploit. So I definitely have to look for counterplay. Then he went bishop h6, which is quite normal. I went for knight f6, typical plan, sending knight g4, driving the bishop away. Here I think he should have done something like f3. If queen h3, then he goes away with the bishop, let's say, to e3, maybe even further to d2, moves his rook back, and yeah, again, I wouldn't be too worried. Maybe move the knight again, knight d7, then f5, but white is certainly not doing poorly. And he actually admitted after the game that knight e3 was simply because he had missed queen h3. And his bishop is forced off the board, and now I'm doing well. b4, very logical starting play over here, and h5. You could still probably have had a good position here had you done something like rook to b1 here, preparing a4. Because after he played a4, I had a typical trick. There is clearly no way that I can absorb the pressure that he has on the queen side, so I have to counterattack. And with his pieces being as uncoordinated as they are, a5 works pretty well. Again, very typical counterattacking motive. You see it in pawn endings all the time, where the counter breakthrough can be, or in all the rook endings like rook against bishop or rook against knight, that the counter breakthrough can be very, very effective. And here, at least the way he played rook b1, ab, rook b4, ba4, I've managed to exchange of the queen sides, and yeah, the advantages of my position remain while he has no real counterplay anymore. It's not that his position is very bad. It's just that now it's it's gone from pleasant for him to pleasant for me. Play knight g4. Again, very typical. The trick. It should be noted that always wanna combine tactical tricks with positional play, and that's exactly what I do here. So clearly he doesn't want to take, since then I get hg4, and h2 is always going to be an issue, even though he has moves like queen f1. I go back, queen h6, and rook h8 is a big threat there. So he goes back. Now we'll go h4. He makes a logical move, f3, moving away the knight, but here's the aforementioned tactical trick that I go hg, and hg he has to play, because fg, then gh, and queen c3 happens, and I win material. So he has to take back, but now we get that theme again. I've opened the H file. I've no real weaknesses. You can try to get it at c7, but in worst case I can always protect that pawn with bishop d8, and I have an open file to work on. So now we get that situation, like attacking with equal material, which again I think every chess player, every good chess player at least, loves. He went queen g2, quite logical, queen h6, queen h2, queen g5, queen d2, queen h5. None of this is completely forced, but I'm trying again to avoid the queen exchange at any cost, since then he could calmly start attacking c7 and my advantage would be gone. And here he played g4, which I'd foreseen in advance, and once I realized the strength of my reply, I have to say I got really excited. So the point here is, again, he wants to exchange queens at any cost, even weakening his dark squares as much as playing g4. And so the only way I figured out that I can avoid the queen exchange is playing queen h8. The problem for him, though, is that the dark squares are decisively weakened at this point. Knight h7 is coming, then either bishop g5 or knight g5. Queen will eventually enter the h file again, or go the other way, and the attack just plays itself. And I have to say that the rest of the game was just a pleasure. He went knight b5, knight h7. You can check it out for yourself, but knight c7 doesn't really work. I go knight g5, and the attack just breaks through. He doesn't have time for this. So after knight h7, he went queen h2, rook b8, now trying to bring the queen over to d8 or c8, then the knight to g5, and also the bishop is coming to g5, possibly. He went c4, protecting the knight. If he takes the pawn like this, I can, for instance, go rook to a1, pinning that knight. Rook b7, queen, maybe not to c8. Queen d8 is a possibility. Yeah, in general, it should be winning. There are also other options like going rook a7 first, maybe, then knight b5, then rook a1. Anyway, he has no he has absolutely no defense here. He decided to try and hold for a little bit with c4, but now I go queen d8. Once again, my position was just such a pleasure to play here. It just plays itself. Knight e3. Now I bring the bishop. Queen e2, bishop f4, knight g2, bishop g3. Once again, exploiting the illness that he has on the dark squares. It's not only one square; it's spreading everywhere. Queen e3, knight g5, tries to run with the king. Now queen h8 with little tactic, queen g5, then queen h1 takes the knight and infiltrating decisively, and he resigned because there's nothing he can do. He cannot allow a rook to invade on the queen side, so he can never take on c7 or a8. And then queen h1 is also coming with decisive threats. So really, this game, I feel like it was about one move, and that was queen h8. Once you realize that all of these optics of putting the queens in the corner, queen in the corner is might be wrong. Once you start to look a little bit deeper and realize that my pieces are going to hit the right squares, and even with all the time in the world, there's nothing he can do. It was a beautiful feeling and pleasure to play.